The big ship appeared without warning. One moment, the space near Neptune was empty. The next, a massive vessel hung there, its hull shining like polished metal under the distant sun. Commander Eliza Wright stared at the screen on the bridge of her patrol ship, the EDF Defender. Her heart beat fast, but her voice remained calm as she spoke to her crew. Stations, everyone. This is not a drill. The alien ship was 5 times bigger than anything humans had ever built. Lights blinked along its smooth sides. Strange symbols marked its hull. "Should we run, Commander?" asked Lieutenant Paul Garcia, his fingers hovering over the engine controls. Eliza shook her head. "No, we represent Earth. We do not run." The alien ship sent a signal. On the screen, a tall, thin being appeared. Its skin shimmered with colors that shifted from blue to green to purple. It had no hair, and its eyes were large, with no whites, just solid black orbs that seemed to see everything. "I am Ambassador Krulfar of the Taraxian Empire," the alien said in perfect English. "We have been watching your world for some time. We come in peace." Eliza straightened her uniform. "I am Commander Eliza Wright of the Earth Defense Force. We welcome peaceful contact." The meeting happened 3 days later on a neutral space station between Earth and Mars. Captain John Miller, Eliza's superior officer, led the human team. The aliens brought 7 representatives. They sat across from each other at a long table. "The Galactic Empire has existed for 10,000 years," Ambassador Krulfar explained. "We rule 300 species across 17 spiral arms of the galaxy." John Miller, a man with gray hair and steady hands, nodded politely. "Impressive. Earth is young in space travel. We have only reached our own system so far." "Yes," the alien said, its skin turning a light blue. "You are primitive by our standards, but we offer you protection as a new species. This is our way." "Protection from what?" asked Miller. "The Dravik Collective. For one, they have been moving into this area of space. They are dangerous. They take planets by force and use up all resources." Miller and Wright exchanged glances. "We appreciate your offer," Miller said. "But Earth doesn't need protection. We've been protecting ourselves for thousands of years." The aliens looked confused. Their skin flickered between colors. "You do not understand," said another alien named Vextor. "No species ever refuses imperial protection. It simply isn't done." Miller smiled slightly. "Well, humans often do things that aren't done." The meeting continued for hours. The alien showed images of the Dravik Collective, insect-like creatures that lived in huge hives and fought in massive swarms. They explained how the Empire had fought them for centuries. "We will station ships in your system," Krulfar said. "A standard arrangement for new protectorates." "We'll consider your offer," Commander Wright replied carefully. "But first, we'd like to learn more about these Draviks." When the aliens left, Miller turned to Wright. "They think we're weak because our technology isn't as advanced." Wright nodded. "A common mistake. People often confuse technology with strength." "Let them think what they want," Miller said. "Start full preparations. If these Draviks are coming, we'll be ready." Wright looked out the window at the stars. "Do you think the Empire knows what humans are really capable of when threatened?" Miller shook his head. "No, and that might be our biggest advantage." As the alien ship departed from the solar system, Earth began to prepare. Factories switched to building weapons and ships. Soldiers trained day and night. Scientists studied the data on the Draviks, looking for weaknesses. The Galactic Empire had no idea what was coming. They thought they had found another simple species to protect and control. They were wrong. Very wrong. Major Kevin Dawson rubbed his tired eyes. For 2 weeks, he had studied the files the Empire shared about the Draviks. Page after page of battles, invasions, and conquered worlds. The Draviks were nothing like the organized, peaceful Empire. "They're like locusts," Kevin said to the room of military leaders. "They eat everything. then moved to the next planet. On the big screen, pictures of the Draviks showed bug-like creatures with hard shells and many legs. They had large eyes that didn't blink and sharp jaws that could cut through metal. Dr. Linda Hoffman pointed to an image of a large Dravik ship. They don't care about losing soldiers. When one dies, 10 more take its place. How does the Empire fight them? Asked General Scott Wilson. They don't. Not really, Kevin replied. The Empire builds walls and hides behind them. When the Draviks attack too hard, the Empire gives up that planet and pulls back. They've been doing this for hundreds of years. The room fell quiet as everyone thought about what this meant for Earth. So the Empire never really attacks? Asked Admiral Stephen Nash, a tall man with serious eyes. Never, Kevin confirmed. Their whole battle plan is to wait and defend. Admiral Nash shook his head. That won't work for us. Earth doesn't have hundreds of planets to give up. 3 months after first contact, the warning came. Strange ships had entered the solar system, moving past Jupiter's orbit. They didn't answer any calls. They just kept coming. In the command center under the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Nash watched the red dots on the big screen. 5 Dravik ships for every 1 human ship. Vextor, the alien sent by the Empire to watch humans, stood in the corner. His skin had turned a worried yellow. The Empire can still send protection, Vextor said. You have only to ask. Nash looked at the alien, then back at the screen. How long would it take your ships to get here? 2 weeks, at fastest speed, Vextor replied. In 2 weeks, the Draviks will already be bombing our cities, Nash said. He pressed a button on his desk. All ships prepare for Battle Plan Alpha. Vextor's skin turned a shocked white. You're sending your ships to attack. The Draviks outnumber you 5 to 1. We're not waiting for them to come to us, Nash said simply. Earth has never been good at just sitting and taking punches. On the bridge of her ship, Commander Eliza Wright received her orders. Attack, not defend. Her crew looked nervous but determined. The Admiral must know something we don't, Lieutenant Garcia said. Those are terrible odds. The odds don't matter, Eliza replied, checking her weapon systems. What matters is how you play the game. And humans play to win. In space near the orbit of Mars, the human fleet formed into 3 groups. The Dravik ships came in one big mass, not expecting any resistance until they reached Earth. They think we'll hide, Eliza told her crew. They think we'll wait behind our moon and hope they go away. They don't understand humans at all. In the command center, Vextor watched with growing surprise as the human ships moved toward the much larger Dravik fleet. This is suicide, he said. The Empire's battle computers give you less than 10% chance of victory. Admiral Nash smiled slightly. Good thing we're not using your computers. He pressed the communication button. All ships, execute Battle Plan Alpha. Let's show these bugs what happens when they threaten our home. Across the solar system, human ships fired their engines. They didn't run away. They didn't hide. They attacked. And the Galactic Empire was about to learn an important lesson about humans. When backed into a corner, they don't cower. They fight. The stars looked like tiny dots from Captain Samantha Hayes' ship. Her hands were steady on the controls as she led her group of 20 fighters toward the huge Dravik fleet. Remember your training, she said calmly to her pilots. They have numbers, but we have brains. Use them. The Dravik ships moved in a tight group, like a swarm of bees. They didn't expect the humans to split into 3 smaller groups and attack from different sides at once. Group 1, target their left flank. Group 2, hit their right. Group 3, with me. We're going straight up the middle, Samantha ordered. The human ships were smaller and faster. They darted between the big Dravik ships, firing at engines and weapon systems. The Draviks tried to catch them, but the human pilots flew in ways the aliens had never seen before. In the command center on Earth, Vextor watched with wide eyes. His skin had turned a surprise blue. "This makes no sense," he said to Admiral Nash. "Your ships should be forming a defensive wall around Earth. That's what the Empire would do." "That's why the Empire has been fighting the same war for centuries," Nash replied. "We're doing something different." On the main screen, a human destroyer took heavy damage from 3 Dravik ships. Its side was torn open, and it was losing power. "Order them to retreat," Vextor said quickly. Nash shook his head. "Watch." Lieutenant Brandon Clark was the captain of that damaged destroyer. Fire burned in 2 sections of his ship. Half his crew was already in escape pods. "All remaining crew, evacuate now," Brandon ordered. Then he turned to his helmsman. "Set course directly for the main Dravik ship." "Sir," the helmsman asked. "You heard me. If we're going down, we're taking them with us." The damaged human ship turned and accelerated toward the largest Dravik vessel. The Draviks, not understanding what was happening, didn't move out of the way fast enough. The human destroyer crashed into the Dravik mothership at full speed. The explosion was so bright it looked like a new star had appeared. When the light faded, 3 Dravik ships were destroyed or badly damaged. "Your captain just killed himself," Vextor said in horror. "His crew was safe in escape pods," Nash replied. "He made his choice." Elsewhere in the battle, pilot Grace Rodriguez led her squadron of fighters in a daring move. They flew close to Neptune, using the planet's gravity to swing around at high speed. This let them get behind the Dravik ships where the aliens' weapons couldn't reach. "Target their engines," Grace ordered. Her pilots fired with perfect aim, hitting the weak spots on the back of the Dravik ships. 5 hours into the battle, the Draviks began to retreat. They had lost nearly half their fleet, while the humans had lost about 30% of their ships. It was a loss the Draviks had never experienced before when attacking a new species. In the Imperial observation ship, Ambassador Krell Far watched the battle with growing concern. His skin had turned a deep purple of worry. "This is not possible," he said to his aides. "The humans should have surrendered after losing 15% of their fleet. That's what our battle simulations predicted." "They fight like nothing we've ever seen," one aide replied. "They take risks no sane species would consider." Krelthar began writing his report to the Imperial Senate. His hand shook slightly as he wrote. "The humans represent an anomaly in our understanding of developing species. They combine simple technology with advanced thinking and a disturbing willingness to die for victory. I strongly recommend we reconsider our standard approach." As the Dravik ships limped away from the solar system, the humans didn't celebrate. They collected their dead, rescued their wounded, and began preparing for the next battle. They knew the Draviks would be back, and next time, they would bring a bigger fleet. The stars looked like tiny dots from Captain Samantha Hayes' ship. Her hands were steady on the controls as she led her group of 20 fighters toward the huge Dravik fleet. "Remember your training," she said calmly to her pilots. "They have numbers, but we have brains. Use them." The Dravik ships moved in a tight group, like a swarm of bees. They didn't expect the humans to split into 3 smaller groups and attack from different sides at once. Group 1, target their left flank. Group 2, hit their right. Group 3, with me. We're going straight up the middle, Samantha ordered. The human ships were smaller and faster. They darted between the big Dravik ships, firing at engines and weapon systems. The Draviks tried to catch them, but the human pilots flew in ways the aliens had never seen before. In the command center on Earth, Vextor watched with wide eyes. His skin had turned a surprise blue. "This makes no sense," he said to Admiral Nash. "Your ships should be forming a defensive wall around Earth. That's what the Empire would do." "That's why the Empire has been fighting the same war for centuries," Nash replied. "We're doing something different." On the main screen, a human destroyer took heavy damage from 3 Dravik ships. Its side was torn open, and it was losing power. "Order them to retreat," Vextor said quickly. Nash shook his head. "Watch." Lieutenant Brandon Clark was the captain of that damaged destroyer. Fire burned in 2 sections of his ship. Half his crew was already in escape pods. All remaining crew, evacuate now, Brandon ordered. Then he turned to his helmsman. Set course directly for the main Dravik ship. Sir, the helmsman asked. You heard me. If we're going down, we're taking them with us. The damaged human ship turned and accelerated toward the largest Dravik vessel. The Draviks, not understanding what was happening, didn't move out of the way fast enough. The human destroyer crashed into the Dravik mothership at full speed. The explosion was so bright it looked like a new star had appeared. When the light faded, 3 Dravik ships were destroyed or badly damaged. Your captain just killed himself, Vex Tor said in horror. His crew was safe in escape pods, Nash replied. He made his choice. Elsewhere in the battle, pilot Grace Rodriguez led her squadron of fighters in a daring move. They flew close to Neptune, using the planet's gravity to swing around at high speed. This let them get behind the Dravik ships where the aliens' weapons couldn't reach. Target their engines, Grace ordered. Her pilots fired with perfect aim, hitting the weak spots on the back of the Dravik ships. 5 hours into the battle, the Draviks began to retreat. They had lost nearly half their fleet, while the humans had lost about 30% of their ships. It was a loss the Draviks had never experienced before when attacking a new species. In the Imperial observation ship, Ambassador Krell Far watched the battle with growing concern. His skin had turned a deep purple of worry. This is not possible, he said to his aides. The humans should have surrendered after losing 15% of their fleet. That's what our battle simulations predicted. They fight like nothing we've ever seen, one aide replied. They take risks no sane species would consider. Krulthar began writing his report to the Imperial Senate. His hand shook slightly as he wrote, The humans represent an anomaly in our understanding of developing species. They combine simple technology with advanced thinking and a disturbing willingness to die for victory. I strongly recommend we reconsider our standard approach. As the Dravik ships limped away from the solar system, the humans didn't celebrate. They collected their dead, rescued their wounded, and began preparing for the next battle. They knew the Draviks would be back, and next time, they would bring a bigger fleet. The Great Senate Hall on Xorex Prime was filled with noise. 10,000 senators from 300 different species argued about one thing: humans. High Senator Trelvox, an old Thoraxian with skin that had faded to pale blue with age, raised his hands for quiet. The room slowly fell silent. For 10,000 years, he said, his voice carrying to every corner of the massive chamber, we have treated new species as children to be guided. The humans have shown us this approach may be wrong. On the huge screens around the hall, videos played showing human ships in battle. The senators watched as Earth vessels used tricks and attacks the Empire had never tried before. Their warfare is, Trelvox paused, disturbing in how well it works. One screen showed the newest human tactic, small robot drones that could slip into Dravik hives and spray a special gas. The gas didn't kill the Draviks, but it confused them so they couldn't fight well. Admiral Patricia Collins had explained it to shocked Imperial officers. We don't need to kill them all. We just need to make them unable to fight. This idea was new to the Empire. Their way had always been to fight until the enemy retreated, then build better walls before the next attack. Perhaps, said Senator Kivloth, a furry being from a cold world, we should think of Earth not as a planet to protect, but as a possible ally. The room filled with loud voices again. The Empire didn't have allies. They had planets they protected and planets that were part of the Empire. The idea of treating humans as equals when their technology was still so simple was completely new. They are primitive, shouted one senator. But they are winning, replied another. For 3 days, the debate continued. Some wanted to help humans more. Others wanted to stay away from them, worried that human fighting methods might spread to other species. On the 4th day, everything changed. A breathless messenger ran into the Senate Hall. The Draviks have attacked Centurion 4. The room went completely quiet. Centurion 4 was an Imperial core world, home to billions of Empire citizens. The Draviks had always attacked outer worlds, never coming this close to the heart of the Empire. Soon, reports came in from ships near Centurion 4. The Dravik Queen herself had ordered the attack. The reason was clear from messages the Empire had captured. The humans are too unpredictable. Focus on the Empire. We understand their patterns. High Senator Trelvox's skin turned dark purple with worry. The Draviks are afraid of humans, so they attack us instead. This changes everything. The Senate voted quickly. Earth would be offered full membership in the Empire, something that usually took new species hundreds of years to earn. In return, they hoped humans would help protect Imperial worlds. On Earth, Admiral Nash received the Empire's message with surprise. They want us to be full members. Just like that. He asked the Imperial messenger. The Draviks are attacking our homeworlds now, the messenger said, his skin pale with fear. They're avoiding human space completely. The Senate believes. The Senate hopes you might help us. President Mitchell read the offer carefully. So last month they wanted to protect us, and now they want our protection. The messenger's skin turned an embarrassed pink. The Draviks have changed their tactics based on fighting your species. Our defenses aren't ready for these new attacks. President Mitchell looked at Admiral Nash. What do you think? Nash thought for a moment. I think the Draviks know that if they beat the Empire, they still have to deal with us. But if they beat us first, the Empire will never attack them. They're making the smart move. Then we'll make a smarter one, Mitchell said. Tell your Senate we accept. The Draviks will soon learn that attacking our allies is the same as attacking us. The messenger's skin turned bright yellow with relief. Thank you. The Empire will never forget this. No, said Mitchell. I don't think they will. Zorax Prime was the most beautiful planet Admiral Stephen Nash had ever seen. From space, it looked like a blue and green jewel with white clouds swirling across its surface. It had been the center of the Galactic Empire for 10,000 years. Now it was about to come under attack. The Draviks will be here in 6 hours, said High Admiral Zexpelor. His skin had turned pale blue with fear. Our sensors detect over 400 ships. Nash looked at the hologram map showing the Dravik fleet. It was the largest attack force the insect-like aliens had ever sent against anyone. Why aren't they following their usual attack pattern? Nash asked. They've changed everything, Zexpelor said. Before fighting humans, they would spread out and attack slowly. Now they'd move fast and stay together. Our defenses aren't made for this kind of attack. Nash nodded slowly. They learned from fighting us. They're using our own tactics against you. The Imperial Defense Fleet had 300 ships. They were bigger than the Dravik vessels but slower. For thousands of years, they had relied on the same defense plans. Now those plans wouldn't work. Nash's human fleet arrived just 3 hours before the Draviks. 50 Earth ships, small but fast, with crews who had already beaten the Draviks twice. Your ships are taking strange positions, Commander Ryan Foster told his Imperial counterpart. The human vessels were spreading out in a pattern that made no sense to Imperial officers. Trust us, Foster said with a smile. We've learned a few things about fighting Draviks. When the battle began, it was like nothing the Empire had ever seen. The Dravik ships came in fast, heading straight for the planet. They ignored the Imperial Defense Fleet and aimed for the human ships instead. They're afraid of you, Zexpelor said with surprise. They want to eliminate your ships first. That's what we wanted them to think, Nash replied. As the Draviks chased the human ships, they broke their tight formation. The human vessels were faster and led the Draviks on a wild chase through the Imperial defense lines. Captain Nickel Warren's cruiser took heavy damage early in the fight. Half her ship was on fire, but she kept attacking. Pull back to repair, ordered an Imperial officer. Not yet, Nickel said calmly. She pushed her damaged ship deeper into the fight, drawing more Dravik vessels after her. When her ship's reactor was about to explode, she ordered her crew to escape pods. Then she aimed her failing vessel right into the middle of the Dravik formation and let it blow up. The explosion destroyed 3 Dravik ships and damaged 7 more. "She sacrificed herself," Zex Paller said in awe. "She got out in an escape pod," Nash corrected. "And she took a lot of enemies with her." For 3 days, the battle raged around Sorax Prime. Imperial citizens watched from the surface as human ships flew in ways they had never seen before. On the 3rd day, the Dravik Queen's ship arrived to direct the attack personally. It was huge, 3 times larger than any other Dravik vessel. "Now," said Admiral Nash, "all ships, execute Operation Thunderclap." The human ships suddenly broke away in all directions, looking like they were retreating. The Draviks, eager for victory, followed them deeper into the system. But it was a trap. At exactly the right moment, all human ships turned around and headed straight for the Queen's ship from every direction. At the same time, a small, hidden human vessel that no one had noticed launched a special weapon. It wasn't a bomb or a missile. It was an electromagnetic pulse aimed directly at the Queen's ship. The pulse hit its target perfectly. The Queen's connection to her fleet was cut off. Without her guidance, the Dravik ships fell into confusion. "Now," shouted Nash, "all ships attack." The combined human and Imperial fleets struck hard. Within hours, the largest Dravik invasion in history had been defeated. As the surviving Dravik ships fled, the citizens of Sorax Prime cheered. For the first time in 1,000 years, they had won a decisive victory against their oldest enemy. Admiral Stephen Nash felt uncomfortable in the fancy clothes the Empire had given him. He stood tall as the Emperor of the Galactic Empire. A being with shimmering golden skin placed a medal around his neck. "The Star of Sorax," the Emperor announced to the huge crowd. "The highest honor in the galaxy." The Grand Hall was filled with beings from hundreds of different worlds. All had come to see the humans who had saved the Imperial capital. Nash and his officers stood in a line, accepting medals one by one. "Your species has done in months what the Empire could not do in centuries," the Emperor said. "The Dravik Collective has asked for peace for the first time ever." Later, at a big party, human officers mixed with aliens from across the galaxy. Captain Samantha Hayes found herself surrounded by young Imperial officers who wanted to learn human battle tactics. "What's the most important thing you can teach us?" asked a young alien with bright green skin. Samantha thought for a moment. "It's not about fancy weapons or clever plans. It's about how you think. Humans fight hardest when things look worst." In another room, Ambassador Richard Martinez was finishing the agreement for Earth to join the Empire. The paper included special rules never given to new members before. Humans could keep their own military and make their own weapons without following all Imperial rules. "Why are you giving humans these special rights?" an Imperial senator asked High Senator Trelvox. Trelvox's skin shifted to a thoughtful purple. "Humans have a saying. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. Their way of fighting works very well. We would be fools to change it." 2 weeks later, the Dravik peace delegation arrived. The insect-like aliens moved nervously, especially when human officers were nearby. They offered a peace deal that surprised everyone. They would give back planets they had taken and pay for damages. "You've broken something in them," an Imperial peace expert whispered to General Daniel Wilson during a break. "They've never offered terms like these before." Wilson nodded. "We didn't just fight their ships. We fought their belief that they couldn't be beaten. They thought they were special because they were willing to lose many soldiers to win. We showed them humans could match that, and be smarter too." Over the next few months, word spread across the galaxy about what humans had done. Many species began asking to meet with humans directly, not going through the Empire first. They all asked the same question. How had humans with simple technology beaten the mighty Draviks when the Empire with all its advanced weapons could not? Admiral Nash was asked this question at a dinner on a distant world. He thought carefully before answering. The Empire taught its people to run from the traffics, he said. Humans never learned how to run. We only know how to stand and fight. His words spread quickly. Soon, across the entire empire, people used the phrase, "call the humans," when they faced big problems that seemed impossible to solve. In Dravik space, the Queens passed a new rule to all their ships and soldiers. If humans approach, retreat immediately. No exceptions. The first human war had lasted less than a year, but it changed everything. The Empire had ruled through careful plans and following old rules for 10,000 years. Now they had to deal with a new reality. A species of creative, unpredictable humans who had proven that sometimes the best response to a threat isn't to run away. It's to run straight toward it.